Hey you guys, it's Peter, and I'm back. Of course I'm back. I'm not going anywhere. Pee-Pee's here, and he says, we're not going anywhere because we're YouTube famous now. And Pee-Pee has on a brand new polo shirt, do you see? And Jenny from Australia sent us this, and she also sent us two onesies for Boo and Tucker, a onesie for Pee-Pee, and a Christmas sweater, and he was so excited. Because Pee-Pee loves clothes, he loves hats. If you watch my channel, you know. Look, it even has a little collar on the back. How cute is that? Oh, little Pee-Pee. You look so fashionable, Pee-Pee. He said, well, I am a fashion model of the world. I mean, so anyway. Well, I wanted to do a little story time today. A little probably unknown fact about me that people probably won't expect about my plastic surgery facial injections. So are you guys ready to hear about this? Okay, so for those of you that watch my channel on a regular basis, you'll probably have heard me mention that my father is a plastic and reconstructive surgeon. So I kind of grew up in this whole world of cosmetic surgery and those kinds of things. And the really interesting thing is that the area of specialty, the specialty that my dad focuses on is hand reconstruction. So when I was growing up, a lot of what I was exposed to was my dad doing like house calls on guys that had like had their hands messed up in oh, sorry, Pee-Pee. Their hands messed up in like factories, and we would go to their house and he would say things to me like, you know, now this man can't, afford to work for his family right now because his, hand has been messed up, and so when we go inside, call him Mr. Smith and be very polite and whatever, so we go inside, and my dad would like change the dressings on the guy's hands, and then his wife would be like, oh, Dr. Monn, would you love to stay for dinner? And he would be like, we would love to stay for dinner. So we would stay for dinner, and we would sit around, and my dad would be like, oh, this is delicious meatloaf. And my dad really, to me, was like as a surgeon, the very first social worker that I ever met in my entire life. And just such a kind and compassionate guy. And so anyway, he also did a lot of facial plastic surgery when I was younger. He did a lot of cleft palates on kids and things like that. But I didn't really understand what cosmetic surgery was until I was about 13 or 14, when at that point, which would have been like the late 80s, cosmetic surgery really kind of grew in our country. And my dad was one of the very first people in Indianapolis, where I live, to do things like breast augmentations and facial surgeries, facelifts. I think he always did. But, all kinds of lip injections, things like that. And through the years, just grew and grew and grew. It was one of the very first people to do liposuction where I live. And so I was exposed to a lot of that at a really, really early age. It's interesting in having discussions with my father. He's a plastic surgeon, but he has never had any plastic surgery on himself whatsoever. And in talking to him, he's explained to me that he believes that like cosmetic surgery a lot of times is like 98% changes that you see inside yourself, that even after you've had the surgery, that a lot of people don't notice, that you only notice them in yourself, and that cosmetic surgery really only cures about 2 or 3% of that. And so like if you're gonna go get cosmetic surgery or you're gonna get plastic surgery, and this is all hearsay from my dad sitting across, drinking coffee. This is not like a doctor's opinion kind of appointment. So please do not make your decisions based on what I'm saying today. This is just my experience. But he would say to me like, I always tell people that if you're gonna get the procedure, get it because you want it, because a lot of people won't even know that you've had it done. So flash forward through the years, I always used to say that I wanted a nose job, and my dad would say, why do you want a nose job? And he would say, your nose is perfect, you have a nice nose, or you have a prominent nose, why do you want to change it? I would say this and that and whatever, and of course as I gained weight through the years, I wanted liposuction. My dad would always say to me, why do you want liposuction? You really don't, you're not the right candidate for it, blah, 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 blah. So I always got talked down about all this stuff. Well, flash forward to when I was about 35 and a half, my stepmom one day said to me, have you ever considered getting Botox? And I was like, what? And she was like, I mean, you could probably use a little Botox. It would make you feel better about yourself. And I was like, are you kidding me? My dad's like, well, I mean, I can arrange it with a doctor if you want to get it done. And I was like, okay. And I was actually terrified before I ever got it done the first time. Back then, if you want to go to my Instagram account, Peter Monn, it's on there. You can go back and you can see pictures. It's of my wedding this was like 6 weeks before my wedding. I had dark hair, no beard. I was a lot thinner. And if you see, I have pretty prominent lines on my forehead and between here, right? So my dad said, well, if they're going to do it, that's probably the only 2 places that they'll do. So I said, okay, will it really make a difference? And he goes, I mean, you'll notice the difference. He goes, it won't happen right away. It usually takes 48 hours to a week for you to start noticing it, things like that. So I was like, okay, so went to the doctor's office, got the Botox injections. It feels like, if you've never had it done before, it feels like a very quick, sharp bee sting, okay? And I just got it here, and then I think I maybe like around my eyes. I can't remember at that time or not. But anyway, it doesn't hurt. I mean, I can remember holding onto the chair, but it didn't hurt that bad. And then afterwards was told to like go like this a lot, you know, so that it wouldn't like settle, and I wasn't allowed to lay down or take a nap or anything like that for a while because it settles, or I don't know. But anyway, it's been a long time since I've got it done. So that was the first time. I went to my wedding 6 weeks later, and I was like, oh my God, like I am a sworn believer in Botox. And listen, before you even come for me in my channel and tell me how dangerous Botox is, I know all the dangers of Botox. I researched all the dangers of Botox. I decided to get it anyway. I took the risk. I know what a lot of people have to say, all that about it being a poison and all that kind of stuff. So if you're going to get Botox, you really need to do your research, talk to several surgeons about it, really decide if it's worth the money, if it's worth the health risk for you. So a lot of people have, you know, adverse effects to it and things like that. I did not. My experience was always good. So, you know, then I came back, and it was 6 months to 8 months went by, and I could start noticing that it was starting to go away. And the thing about Botox is if you're going to have it, it's something that you have to keep up. It's not something that you just get one time and then it's over, right? And so about 8 months later, I got it again. Well, this time I noticed, unlike the time before, where when I got it before, it really just kind of made everything look fresh and beautiful, and I loved it so much, right? This time, my eyebrows raised a little bit, like permanently. I was like, and I don't know if it was where it was done or that it was my second time or whatever, but in talking to the doctor, I was told that the more you get it done, you know, you're gonna have some of those side effects probably. If it's done well, you know, you need to keep it up on a regular basis, things like that. So I was like, okay. So I got it done, and my eyebrows were a little bit, and it was too much. I didn't enjoy it. I mean, they weren't like this all the time. Have you seen people like that have had Botox? I mean, it wasn't like that, but it was like, I mean, it was a little bit more arched than usual. And so anyway, I think it was almost a year after that, I was like, really, it had gone away. I was like, I think I want some more Botox. And I got some more Botox, and that time it was like noticeable. Like when I got it done, it was like, and I had it done in a couple other areas on my face as well. That time it was pretty noticeable. I was like, okay, this is a lot. Like people would say things to me like, did you get Botox? Like it was noticeable, right? And it wasn't poorly done. I mean, it just was no different really than the times before. But at that time, I happened to be like watching, I used to watch like all these like Oprah interviews. And I watched an interview that Oprah did with Diane Keaton. And she said, that Oprah asked her on there if she had had any plastic surgery. And she said, no. She said, I believe in aging authentically. That being said, I wouldn't rule out having my eyes done, having a facelift if it's something that I wanted. I don't judge other people for it. If I get to the point where it's something that I want, then I'll have it. And I was like, oh my God, I totally agree with that, right? And so I was talking to my dad, and I was still trying to keep my brown hair, which I was coloring like every 3 to 4 weeks. It was very expensive to color my hair. I had gained weight. I didn't have a beard, and I just, you know, it was a lot to keep up on a daily basis, or, you know, on a regular basis to look young anymore. And I remember I was sitting outside with my dad, and a lot of people tell me all the time, they're like, you look just like your dad, right? And I was sitting outside with my dad, and he was smoking a cigar, and I was on his back patio. And I said, you know, Dad, I'm coloring my hair. I'm keeping up with this Botox. What do you think? And he goes, Pete, just let it go. My dad calls me Pete. He was like, just let it go. He was like, what are you going to do? Try to hold on forever? He was like, but the things you can do is drink more water, eat healthier, have a better spiritual state of mind, a more compassionate, you know, be a kinder, gentler person in the world, be a nicer person. And you're changing all of those things that way. Those things are noticeable about yourself. He was like, but yes, he's like, I don't discourage people from getting plastic surgery. I don't discourage people from doing, you know, lip fillers and Botox and all that kind of stuff. But he goes, it is maintenance. You have to keep up with it if you're going to do it. And he's like, and at some point, you can't keep up with it anymore because you're 75 and it just doesn't, like, it looks fake. And I was like, okay, so I was like, I'm not going to get the Botox anymore. I just decided I wasn't going to. And, you know, it was probably one of the best decisions for me that I made looking back. I mean, appreciate, you know, aging authentically. I will say this, that at 36, people guessed me for late 20s, early 30s. Today, I get guessed 5 years older than me. People guess me for, you know, 49, 50, and I'm 44. I don't know how much of it has to do with the weight and the beard, you know, and the color of my hair. Silver fox. But look at it. No shower today yet. But anyway, I mean, I don't know how much of it has to do with all of that, but, you know, it is what it is. And I just decided I didn't want to get in anymore. Now, I can tell you my husband, Alex, he's a different story. He has been getting Botox for a long time. He loves it. He doesn't have the arch eyebrows. He doesn't have any of that kind of stuff. You know, a lot of people have told me if you're going to get it when you're younger and start it when you're younger. Alex loves it. And he does a lot of treatments. So, I mean, it's not something that I'm negative about. It just, for me, isn't my choice today. It's not who I want to be. I believe in aging authentically. I'm okay with that. I think there's a lot of beauty to be found in aging. I think there's a lot of wisdom and intelligence to be found in aging, you know, and that's not just for men either. I thought for a long time that it was easier for men than women because men, I think, as they get older, a lot of people find them more handsome or better looking. Whereas with women, there's this huge stigma in our society that you have to look 25 forever. And can you imagine trying to keep up with that? And I think a lot of that is that we need to change the stigma with society that women are just as beautiful at 65 or 70 or 50 or 45 looking natural as they were when they were 25. I mean, I think for us to have more appreciation for aging instead of always trying to keep up at 25 and thinking there's something wrong with us if we don't look that way, which that's unnatural. We're not going to look 25 forever, right? I mean, this is not the movie Death Becomes Her. So we can't, you know, drink a fluid and look that good for the rest of our lives. So, you know, that's just my experience with, you know, facial injections. I don't know that I have ruled it out. I mean, if I might get it again sometime. I mean, this line's getting pretty prominent, but it's interesting because somebody the other day, they said to me, they go, oh my God, I love the lines in your forehead. Isn't it weird what people find attractive? I think it's so strange. So, you know, I mean, what one person thinks is ugly, another person's gonna think is beautiful. And I think that's the awesome thing about the world is that, you know, there's always somebody out there that's gonna appreciate you for who you are, what you are, and that you have to find that within yourself most of all and love that about yourself physically. And that's just what I believe today. And that's how I wake up and try to love myself. You know, I don't love my weight right now, and so I am trying to do something about it by getting healthier and losing weight and being more active. Which, if you want to follow me on my new channel, my so-called Healthy Life, it just started today, and I put my very first video up on there. It's linked below. So yeah, I love you guys. Let me know what you think if you'd like to see more of my experiences with things like this. More, I don't know, I keep on doing this throughout my whole video. More story times like this. I love you guys. Follow me on all my social media. I try to answer you all, and I have so much fun with all that. It's so cool. And PP, you want to show your shirt one last time? Aww. PP said, can we please go out to dinner now? I want to go to Cheesecake Factory. No, PP, because I'm on a diet. He said, okay. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.